You can see on executives that stress gets to them, and then you look at them and you're like, oh man, they're about to explode. But not with her, man. But not with her.
I've never seen her down. I've never seen her get discouraged.
Never had a bad day.
Never seen her get mad.
She had the ability to take the stress away from the executive team, that optimism of, we'll figure this out.
Says a lot about somebody to keep a positive attitude in a world that's upside down at times.
I think a leader's vision has to be optimistic. I think one of the most important traits of a leader is to be the optimist, to be the inspiration, to tell people it's going to be okay. And I used to joke with people that work for me, nobody panics until I panic, and I don't panic. And so, don't worry, it's going to be okay. We're going to figure it out. Hi, I'm Lisa Laube, and I'm an eternal optimist. So I think things are going to work out, and they usually do. We had a very, average middle America upbringing. We used to go out and play in the morning, and my mother at 6 o'clock would come outside and yell, and everybody would come in, and I'm not sure she knew where we were all day. And either on the lake or down on the farm. We always had a lot of animals growing up, lots of cats and dogs and fish. It was a very nice upbringing. This is my parents and I. I'm the oldest of three. I had great relationships with my brother and my sister. We have remained close, with my parents our whole lives. And my mom had kids right away. She ended up being the vice president of a publishing company, having never gone to college. My dad was always in banking, but he was very grounded in family and in faith and in friends. I miss talking to my dad every day. He was probably the most influential person in my life. He was just such a good guy. He was funny and kind, and we miss him a lot. Between them, I thankfully kind of got the best of the both of them. They really instilled in us those core values that we needed to be successful in life. Going to Georgia, I think, was kind of a natural. My parents told me I could go anywhere I wanted as long as it was in-state, so that was an easy decision. The class here at Georgia that really set my career on the path it went on was called personnel selling. The professor would hand you a pencil and say, here, sell this to me now. I just kind of fell in love with that concept of, what do people want? How do I go get it for them? And then how do I convince them that it's the best option? So I graduated in 1985, went to work for Rich's department stores. My first job at Rich's was an assistant buyer in electronics, and my husband was an associate buyer in electronics. So we met there. He likes to joke, you could get anything at Rich's, even a wife. Careers, like personal lives, are not always straight lines. So we decided to move to New York, the both of us, to work for Macy's, and then had the opportunity to go to Linens and Things. Had a great 7-year career there. Moved from there to a division of Bath & Body Works in Columbus, Ohio. And then I was recruited back to Party City. I worked for Party City for about 7 or 8 years. And then after Party City, had the opportunity to go to Floor & Decor in 2012. So my last 10 years of my career was with Floor & Decor. Certainly best company I ever worked for, best job, best people. Vincent hired me in 2012. We had 28 stores. We were doing $285 million.
It was no frills, lots of product, screamed deal. There used to be a gorilla on the roof of the first store. It's the kind of theatrics we had.
We'd walk in the store, things were displayed like glued to OSB board and just ugly, and the product was just flat stacks. That was the store when we got here.
We spent lots of times visiting our store, understanding from our associates what was working, what was not working.
While the company was good, we made it so much better, and Lisa gets just a ton of the credit.
Because of Lisa, our stores have 28 vignettes in every store.
I love watching the customers walk around and engage with the product.
Nobody would have ever envisioned somebody buying tile this size.
Our job was always to show them things they'd never thought of.
When you walk that store today, it's inspiring. Like, there's nothing like walking in the store and you're like, man, I got to redo my bathrooms.
Which is the feeling we want people to have, that if these guys don't have it, it just must not exist.
Yeah, but she gets credit for that because she brought inspiration and presentation to the company in a way that we hadn't done it before.
By the time I left, we were doing about $3.5 billion and had, I think, 160 stores, and now it's continued to grow well beyond that in the last 3 years. That is still the single most fun thing I ever did in my career, helping and being part of taking Floor and Decor public.
It was one of the best retail IPOs of the decade.
You know, we just had such a compelling story going all the way back to Vincent West founding the company in 2001. It was such an amazing opportunity to be able to retire on top. And so that was it was a great way to end my almost 40 years. It was just the right time for me. It was the right time for me to kind of go to the next phase of my life. And so we, since then, have moved to Lake Oconee and we travel a lot. Everybody jokes, like, how do you travel so much? I said, I don't have any kids to put through college. That's how. But the giving back piece is important too. I have a few passions. One is certainly animals and conservation. So I started at the zoo board, I guess maybe about 6 years ago. And it's been terrific.
She's taken that passion for animals and then taken it a step further to how do we further this mission of protecting wildlife and their habitats and educating the next generation.
I think it's so important, the work that the zoo does, for kids who have never been anywhere else to come and to see these animals and to get just a little glimpse into a world maybe they've never seen or a country they've never heard of.
I guess I like the fact, she's been very, very successful. She doesn't take herself too seriously. And I've seen people like that who can really develop a chip on their shoulder, and it's just not there.
She's the best. I mean, honestly, like, I'd kill her for leaving, but to this day, you go in and I'll go into a store and I'll have one of our managers or one of our department managers come up and go, hey, have you talked to Lisa lately? How's Lisa doing? We miss her. So she touched a ton of our associates.
I'm an incredibly grateful person. Every day I recognize how blessed I am, I appreciate how blessed I am, and I just hope I can roll that forward to somebody else every day.